All right, you're watching the special edition of Democracy Day on TVC. Now, the annulment of the 1993 election is an unpleasant pointer to the involvement of the military in the nation's politics. This interregnum began just 6 years after the colonial British Union Jack was lowered and the green and white-green flag hoisted in its place, signaling the nation's independence in 1960. Now, since then, there has been 8 changes of government through military processes. Some other attempts were unsuccessful, but not without the huge cost in human lives. Many have argued that just like the June 12, 1993 experience, Nigeria is always taken backward with every military intervention in politics. And that's the focus of our next conversation. And we are being joined now on Skype by someone who was in the vanguard for the restoration of democracy and the mandate given Chief Imke Obiola. He's a lawyer and publisher. Certainly, I'll be having, lawyer and publisher of Insider Magazine, Osa director. Osa, good afternoon. It's nice to have you join me right now.
Good afternoon. It's nice being here too.
Great, great. And I also have with me Asukwa James, assignment editor at TVC. Asukwa, it's nice to see you.
And you too, Mike.
Great,
Good afternoon.
Great. Now, Osa, let me come to you first. When it comes to the struggle that we talk about 27 years ago, there are so many millennials now who would not understand what that struggle meant, what it stood for, what people went through. You were one of those at the forefront of how things went. You suffered some of the incarceration. In fact, all the things that went down at that time and all of that, and you are here now. Now, talk to us basically, what is that significant thing about June 12 that everyone is talking about that people need to know?
Well, it's been summarized that the June 12, 1993 presidential election was a political watershed in the nation's history. Having listened to 2 of your previous speakers, my good friend, Babarichi, Akinola, and Lake, I think they've basically summarized everything. I think the point that I need to emphasize is what Dede Lake said, that there is a spiritual underpinning to the events that happened on the June 12th. Because I was an active reporter on the field. It was during the rainy season, but there was no drop of rain anywhere in the country. There was peace, and there was absolutely no single violence anywhere. It appears that there was a conspiracy against the conspiracy of the military regime, playing all kinds of hanky-panky, or what you call political peekaboo, not to hand over to the civilians. So the atmosphere and Nigerians generally destroyed all the myths in the words of Dede Lake to conspire against that their subterranean plot to engage or embark on this convoluted transition program, which finally terminated on June 12, 1993 election. So what I would say as a journalist is that was the most peaceful election I've ever witnessed in this country. That was the election that redefined Nigeria as a nation. But I think we missed the opportunity of building on that and on building on our nationhood by the callous annulment of that election by the military regime of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida.
All right. Now, Asukwa, let me come to you on this. Now, you heard what he said, that that day there seemed to be a conspiracy against conspiracy, positive conspiracy against the military regime at that time, where everyone was on the same page. Now, if we liken that election of 1993 to subsequent elections from 1999 up until now, how do you assess them? What's the difference? What's the missing link?
I think the missing link is that the June 12 election was a more Nigerian election than every other election. Why do I say so, and what do I mean? That is where Nigerians didn't think about, I'm from Igbo, or I am a Christian, or I'm a Muslim. That is the election that most Nigerians didn't look at if one person was actually rich or poor, but everybody spoke one language, and that is, we need a better society. We need to better our lives.
Yeah, but would you say that the system, the option A4 formula that was used that time, could have been one of the reasons why, or maybe it is the individual who was involved at that time, or it was the disposition of Nigerians who were just tired of the military? What do you think are those kernels that
I think it was all together.
Okay.
You know, because
Maybe
one
just a combination
of all, because it is one moving into one and all that. One, it was Nigerians who are tired of the military.
Okay.
Then two, which option should we now bring out? Because they've been seeing people who've been knowing a lot of politicians. But until MKO actually came, and it was someone that was in the news doing his philanthropy work. And so many people, okay, fine, he's MKO, and he was everywhere. So we never thought about, oh, he's a Muslim, and his vice president, his running mate was also a Muslim. Nobody thought about that. Nobody was even talking about all that Muslim ticket that we now have. And then nobody was talking about if it was going to be now that we say direct primaries or indirect primaries. It was just option A4.
Option A4.
Go there, stand in front of the poster, and then cast your vote. And then if you notice, there was no violence whatsoever. None. I remember I was still in my teens then. No violence. I didn't hear that, they snatch ballot box like they do today. I didn't hear that the soldiers were there trying to stop people from voting. Because this was the willingness of Nigerians to go out, cast their vote, and make sure that the person who they wanted actually was the one who was supposed to be to be elected.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Nigerians saw the best in terms of trying to make sure that things get better, you know, and they believed that if the MKO was made the president, things would be better.
Okay.
Because they saw the future. They saw what he was bringing up. And don't forget, there was a debate. And that debate was what actually won the heart of Nigerians.
All right. Now, the question of debate, we certainly will bring it back into when we discuss further, because when it comes to what role debates play in election and so on, we'll talk about that. Now, let me come back to you, Osa. Now, in 1993 election of the MKO Abiola and Bashir Tofa that everyone is talking about right now, that has formed part of our democracy, everyone, like you have said even earlier, myths were demystified and all of that. Some of those who are present right now, who are overseeing election process in Nigeria, who are partaking, who are deciding the direction of things, were there at that time. They saw the beauty of it at that time. They partook in it that time. Why is it so challenging to have 1993 election again in the 2000s?
Yeah, it is. I'm not hearing.
Well, Osa, can you hear me? If you can.
I'm hearing you here.
Oh, okay, fine. If you can hear me, then.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, fine. I was asking that why is it challenging, so challenging, if we've had it that good before in 1993, why is it so challenging to have those kinds of free and